I'm aware that the fourth president of Botswana is the former president, Honorable Church. Honorary Lieutenant General Seretse Kama, party leader, Dr. Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, Pierre Lumumba, our friend, and many others who I have seen. My duty is simple: to recognize the elected leaders. I can see the member of County Assembly, Andei. I thought that's when. This club for Francis Moore. Is there another person I have missed in the category of yes? Mheshimiwa leader, elected and nominated from this ward by one party. Who else? Nobody else. Thank you. Can I ask Jessica to come here? So I hope you have taken the 5 minutes I was taking. I've been asked to do in a short time. Thank you. Jessica Mbalo, Mheshimiwa Kiongozi.
Thank you very much to the chief guests, Dr. Kama, for President of Botswana, my party leader, Dr. Kalonzo Musyoka, Senior Counsel, the management of Lukenya University, and standing on all protocol to conserve and also to...
I've also seen representatives of the senator who are here. I hope it's ongoing. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, let me make my remarks brief. I'm glad that we are back here again. The last time I was here, it was hot, and I think it was because Malema was also here. and it's a pleasure to be here. But we are here also at a very tough time. A tough time because what we are celebrating as Pan-Africanism is also brotherhood. It's Ubuntu. And this morning while I was driving here, I've received and seen stories of the suffering of young people in Tanzania. And it will be unfair not to say that as we celebrate our brotherhood and sisterhood, we must recognize that there are people who are suffering and people who have lost their lives in Tanzania as a result of the elections. We must remember those people and reports of mass graves of people whose rights have been violated should not escape. The hero we buried, Right Honorable Raila who passed on 15th of October 2015, and whom our party leader, together with leaders from the party went to visit us this week, believed in free, fair, transparent elections. And that is a principle that we cannot run away from. All the people who are in these pictures at the back of the program, all these people who are at the back of the program, are heroes of this country and this Africa for various reasons, including the Right Honorable Raila Odinga. So as we celebrate the second anniversary of this Pan-African Institute and what Lukenya University has done, and we want to thank you, Mama, for the work that you're doing. It is a milestone. It is a legacy. You should feel happy that you have brought all these people together here in Kenya to celebrate Pan-Africanism. And we are here to witness the greatness and the progress we are making towards this cause. I'll reach there and say asante sana for inviting us to this meeting. I'll be glad to listen to the conversations, and thank you very much. My name is Mtindo Jr., Governor of Makwiny. Thank you.
the academic staff.
Is Gilbert Musyoka? Gilbert Musyoka, where are you? Okay, thank you very much. We have Mr. Gideon Kimilu. Wonderful. Wow, welcome. Indeed, welcome. A very good friend of Kenya. We have Joel Mulelu, who is the principal for Lukenya College. Thank you very much, principal. Francis Mbaba, the National Government CDF Kibwezi constituency. Thank you very much. Priscilla Ngimi, KB2 East Constituency Office. Thank you so much. And I cannot read the other name, so I'll have to come back and recognize the other people. So without much further ado, please help me to welcome our chairman of the Pan-African Institute, Professor Piero Lumumba, who will come and meet his remarks.
Thank you very much. Let me start by recognizing the chief guest, the former president of the Republic of Botswana, and my very good friend, Dr. Serese Kamani Kam. Permit me also to recognize my friend, the former Vice President of the Republic of Kenya, the Honorable Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, to recognize the governor of makwiny, Mutula Kalonzo Jr., Mama Mulwa, the chair of the trustees of Lukenya University, the chair of the council, the vice chancellor of the university, the chancellor of the university, the pro-chancellor, my good friend Dr. Heda, the academic staff, and permit me also to recognize some of my friends who have traveled far and wide to be present here. Madam Senaid Dimitri, who is a big business person in Ethiopia, has traveled to be with us here. My good friend Nurdin Kajuma from the United Republic of Tanzania, and of course Yak Makel from the Republic of South Sudan. I believe Dr. Wanjiku Ndumu is also here, one of the major proprietors, and Ray Nyamwea. Your Excellency, exactly 2 years ago, we were present here with my good friend Julius Selo Malema to institute the Pan-African Institute. And perhaps wisdom demands that the historical context is established. The historical context is that our foundation, the Pierre Lumumba Foundation, was debating where to establish the Pan-African Institute, present as we are today in 50 African countries. We had a conversation with Lukenya University and agreed that the Mother Institute be established here. And I can confirm that 2 years later, we are spreading our tentacles. On the 7th day of October this year, we established a child of this institute at the university in Hargeisa, the Unity University. Your Excellency, I will also confirm that on the 15th day of November, we will be establishing the 3rd institute in Lusaka, Zambia. I can also confirm that during that period, we have entered into a memorandum of understanding to establish an institute in Trinidad and Tobago at the University of West Indies. And that next year, we'll also be establishing this institute in Monrovia, in Liberia. And we say all of these because we recognize that over the years, Pan-Africanism has been romanticized. One may say that Pan-Africanism had been reduced to sloganeering, but we refuse to believe that the purport and import of Pan-Africanism was merely to sloganeer. And that is why we strive to give content to Pan-Africanism. Your Excellency, we want to know that under the aegis of this institute, we are touching young people in the continent of Africa. In Kumasi, in Ghana, early this year, we established at Obuasi High School an innovation and invention center. And next year, we'll be showcasing some of the things that young Africans are doing. This very same year, in Monrovia, we have established a Pan-African clothing line. And on Saturday, I will be in Lusaka, Zambia, to establish the Pan-African Media House at Eden University. I also want to make known that in the manner that my good friend Gibron Okidon and Robert Yasimia said, we hold the view that Pan-Africanism must not be confined in the arena of politicking without more. We believe, as my good friend Selman ever said, is that economic liberation is indeed the true liberation. And that is why, therefore, we are engaged specifically with the ladies and gentlemen that I've invited here. We will very shortly, in the first quarter of the year 2026, be establishing jointly with Nuruddin Kajuma a program for feeding Africa, and the tagline is, have you eaten today? We are giving meaning to agriculture in Africa, and we are honoring one of the greatest Pan-Africanist contemporary, Edwina Flatten Taylor, who died about 2 weeks ago, and already we are present in 6 African countries on the basis of organic farming. With my good friend Dimitri, who is a big business person in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, we are going into the spaces of empowering young men and women. So we come here, Your Excellency, not only to commemorate and celebrate, but also to announce that we are giving meaning and content to what was said by the pioneers. Just this morning, as we were flying in here, I remember some of the most iconic speeches that were delivered in 1963 when the Organization of African Unity was founded. And I remember these words of Emperor Haile Selassie when he reminded his audience that Africa was not created later than other continents. He reminded his audience that Africa was created at the same time as other continents, but that we have been engaged in lamentation for too long, that we have handicapped ourselves for too long, and the time is now for us to begin to lift ourselves by our bootstraps. Your Excellency, we are here to do exactly that, and that is why it was not a difficult task to invite you, having had occasion to be with you in a number of Pan-African forums. It is also important to note that we had invited the former Vice President of Liberia, the Honorable Jewel Taylor, but she could not make it. She recorded our message, but technology has conspired against us. and therefore it will be communicated online. Your Excellency, on occasions such as these, wisdom not only requires but demands that we do not speak for too long. It requires that we only remind ourselves that we are on to a big thing. For the young people who are present here, it is your duty to carry this baton forward in the knowledge that throughout the ages, the continent of Africa has been undermined. In fact, if my camera does not let me down, the very place at which we are, Mtindo and Andei, means the forest of vultures. And this is a place where during slavery, the bodies of Africans were eaten by vultures. Hence the name. We can no longer afford that luxury. Our duty, therefore, you who I am, is to go down in history, because if you do not have a sense of history, you cannot have a sense of the future. If you look at the young men and women who are the purveyors of Pan-Africanism, they were young. Nkrumah was young. Lumumba was young. Mboya was young. Nyerere was young. Samora was young. Saserese Kama was young. Biko was young. Amilcar Cabral was young. Ahmed Ben Bella was young. Tiro Ngobote was young. Kaunda was young. It is in your youth that you must carry this baton in the knowledge that Africa can only be catapulted into the orbit of sustainable development if our young men and women are in the forefront. And I pray and hope that beyond today's celebration, marked with pomp and circumstance, you will, each one of you, do that which is good and right. Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere, addressing young people such as yourselves in 1967, said in Kiswahili, and permit me to quote, siri ya maendeleo ni vijana wenye malezi bora, siha njema na bongo kali. Nina hakika na siha njema na malezi bora na mna bongo kali. Ladies and gentlemen, I said wisdom requires only one thing, not to speak for too long. I now conclude my remarks, and in so doing invite my good friend Sylvia Kasamba Mulwa to lead us into the next segment of this event. God bless you.
You may see a little bit of activity happening on the faculty side. The faculty is seated on this side. Please just bear with them, and let's be very discreet in the next session, which will become a very formal and solemn occasion. And for now, I want to invite back on stage. I'm giving my governor work. He has come here to do what? And I'm calling back our governor so that he can do something very important. And then we shall quickly weave into the next segment. Thank you.
Work with no pay. Professor has reminded me of a very famous saying, not saying, but words that we must record for the young people. Bliss it was to be alive at dawn, but to be young was very young. those words, when Professor Lumumba was mentioning so many people, that's what crossed my mind. The next speaker needs very little introduction. He doesn't like being praised. We praise him at the risk of getting some chastisement, but I will. In 2007, he was a presidential candidate. After the election, Kenya was at the brink of the precipice. We were tearing each other apart. We didn't know which way to go. He swallowed his pride and decided to join Mwai Kibaki in government. It is as a result of him joining Mwai Kibaki that a big coalition was formed and later led to the constitution we now enjoy. His name? Kalonzo Musyoka. In the subsequent 3 elections, Dr. Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka did not contest the elections. To vote for this man, you better read his book so that you understand where it has come from. I'm proud to be a politician courtesy of him. He nearly, let me use the word cajoled, me to become a politician when my father passed on. And there's never been a dull moment since I joined politics. I have no regrets. Please help me to welcome on stage Dr. Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka.
The fourth president of the Republic of Botswana. Because she was going to make a presentation, I recognize our presence from the Vice President of Liberia, Excellency Slam Otola, and Kenya Governor, our son, friend, Kalonzo Jr., the founder of Lukenya University, my sister Mother Kasanga Miller, the Chancellor Professor Margaret Mutembei, Vice Chancellor Dr. Judith Wafula,
our daughter Senator Sylvia, Chairman of Pan-African Institute, my learned brother, Professor Piero Lumumba, distinguished guests, members of staff, dear.
What an extraordinary honor to be with you here this morning, so soon after coming from Kango, Kanjaramogi. And I want to say that these are difficult times for us in the region. But when I went to lay a wreath at the mausoleum where our late brother Raila Odinga, I could not help but imagine the struggles that you have come through. And so I want to greet you as we used to be greeted by the young ones with Raila Amolo Odinga. Remember those days when you say Raila Tialala. Kumbukeni hiyo, Raila Tialala. Ria. Well, Raila Tialala. Now, I've just come out there and the story has changed. And it is Joey, the buffalo. Joey. You need to carry a spear with you so you can make a bit of sense out of that. But students of Lukenya University,
You are truly honored to be able to host such a distinguished leadership in our continent, and more particularly the chief guest today. I bring you greetings from one who was the fourth president like you, the Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta. I was speaking to him as I was driving in to Lukenya, and he was so excited. He leaves the country tomorrow, and he asked me to convey his message of welcome to you. And there's so much, again, as Mheshimiwa Jessica Balu, Member of Parliament for this area, you did make some very interesting comparison between our chief guest and yours truly. That you are born the same year, believe it or not. But Mr. President was born in February and I was born in December. They went on to found Botswana Patriotic Front. And we are members of Wiper Patriotic Front. And then you have come visiting. I hope I'll go visiting. In fact, my plan says by Wednesday I'll land in Gaborone. So I hope you'll be home by then and to be able to visit. So let me make this submission in writing, because if I don't, my brother PLO Lumumba will have carried the day. And Sylvia said, it's so difficult to speak after PLO. But PLO must tell you, I'm very personally proud of you because of what you have done to this university. And you continue to live that dream of Pan-Africanism, content. Then you also add form to it because you're eloquent. And so I must take this opportunity to urge you on. Don't look back. Now you're looking at innovation. You're even looking at media relations. You're expanding this space. Because, as you say, the period of sloganeering is over. No more slogans. We need to really live what we preach. And so you're in the forefront at such a time as this. I've seen you crisscross the continent, sometimes addressing huge audiences, some not so huge, like I watched what you talked about in Accra, Ghana, and I'm truly amazed. And so I wasn't here when Malema was here, because I was afraid that these Kenyans were going to look at me differently. But that's a true African, a true son of this continent, saying it as it is. Because the era of preaching that we are the African lion has come to an end. Because must come to an end literally, and really do something. We often talk about the Asian tigers, Mr. President, the Asian tigers, and then we say the time for the African lion has come, and the elephants and all. We need to lift this country. The moment has come. And now the rest of my remarks must be in writing. This university holds a very special place in my heart. Every visit reminds me of its remarkable journey, from the laying of the first stone to this very moment as we break ground for the Pan-African Institute. It is a story of vision, of courage, and unwavering perseverance. That's why you address that the dress code here is not a suit or a jacket like Governor Mutula is wearing. And imagine this mama and our late brother Justice Kasanga Mulwa were able to do the impossible. The dream of Justice retired Kasanga Mulwa and Mrs. Mother Mulwa has not only endured, it has indeed flourished. Lukenya University stands today as a shining example of how vision, determination, and purpose can create transformative institutions. Because of their vision, makwiny proudly hosts Kenya's first non-profit university dedicated to African empowerment through education and through innovation. This is the essence of transformation. The belief that with commitment and persistence, we can build institutions that educate minds, that shape futures and strengthen our continent. Distinguished guests, Africa and the world bade farewell to one of our greatest Pan-Africanists, the second Prime Minister of the Republic of Kenya, Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. Your heartfelt tribute to him this morning deeply moved me. I'm certain that from the mountaintop, my dear brother and friend Raila is smiling down upon us and upon you, proud of your tribute to him in his honor this morning. And what Junior forgot to say is, when I did not contest the three presidential elections in a straight line, is because I chose for the first two to be my brother's running mate. And the third one, I did not even offer my candidature. I said I was going to really support him unconditionally. And that we did. Raila's Pan-Africanism was never merely ideological. It was a way of life. For decades, he championed African unity, economic cooperation, and leadership that prioritizes people. He believed passionately that Africa must speak with one voice and that our continent's future depends on our ability to stand together. As the African Union's High Representative for Infrastructure Development, Raila carried this dream across Africa. He envisioned a continent connected by railways, by roads, by energy corridors and digital networks. A continent bound not by borders, but by shared purpose. He often reminded us, I quote, Africa cannot trade or integrate without infrastructure, end of quote. For Raila, this connection was more than development, it was liberation. And therefore I also agree with you, my brother PLO, when you say the time for economic liberation is now. It was important. Our forefathers, a lot of whom are actually being depicted right in front of us, struggled and fought for African political liberation. And that was achieved. And I think the story of Kwame Nkrumah and the argument at the OAU summit at that time, whether they should have gone for integration, which was, I think others like Mwalimu Nyerere and others, that a few had a different way of looking at it. But imagine Kwame Nkrumah's dream been agreed with. This will be a continent like no other. So now, for my brother Raila, even in death, his spirit continues to inspire. His voice reminds us that Africa's power lies in cooperation, not in division, in dignity, not in dependency. May his soul rest in eternal peace, and may his dream for a united Africa live on. Of course, he joins many, many others. I can tell you, for example, at the occasion, to even reach out to brother leader who was misunderstood, Muammar Gaddafi. I see my friend PLO. I think you need to look a little bit at that contribution. Muammar's vision was for an African foreign policy, which is common, and African defense policy, which is also common. But I can see that there are difficulties in achieving some of these things. Ladies and gentlemen, there is truly a wind of change sweeping across our continent. This wind is the latest expression of Pan-Africanism, I dare say. The wave of Gen Z-led protests across Africa against bad governance, against corruption, impunity, lack of transparency, electoral fraud, and rising living costs is a powerful testament to a new generation rising. These peaceful demonstrations are not acts of recklessness. They are acts of hope and determination aimed at restoring the dignity of their generation and ours, just as their forefathers restored Africa's dignity through the struggle against colonialism and oppression. This is Pan-Africanism in action, an awakening that must be recognized and supported. African leaders must stop treating protesters as criminals. In the case of Kenya, in the case of my own country, a senior counsel went out there, PLO, next to committing maximum prison, to enter and defend young Kenyans who are charged under Prevention of Terrorism Act, that your own children were even seen as terrorists. So, leaders must listen to their people and not silence them. This surge of youth-led Pan-Africanism is not accidental. 19 coups in just 4 years, coupled with the persistence of one-term presidencies, are warnings we cannot ignore. Well, did I talk to you? Did I say one term? Did I hear you say one term? One term. Mr. President, that is the clarion call in our country. This has become our second national anthem. Guests, dear friends, as we break ground for the Pan-African Institute today, let this moment be a reminder that Africa's future is in our hands and we are still painting our canvas. Let this institute be a beacon, a place where ideas ignite, talents are nurtured, and Pan-African ideals are brought to life through education, through innovation, and through action. Together, let us continue the work of building a continent where opportunity, where dignity, and prosperity are within reach for all. Let us honor the legacy of those who came before us and empower the generation that is rising now. The journey is long, but the vision is clear. An Africa united, strong, and free. Viva Africa! Viva Africa! Comrades power! Comrades power! Comrades transaction. You know what that means. God bless you. God bless the Republic of Kenya. God bless the Republic of Botswana. Long live Africa. The time for Africa to rise is now. Amen.
Kalonzo Musyoka. As a child historian, I'm tempted to say Dr. Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka is a man whose time has come. Let us clap for him. I picked those words from Martin Luther Jr. Martin Luther Jr. and the story of the time. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are beginning a very important occasion now. We are going to have play of African music as we thank you so much. Let's see what happens. Thank you.